Hello and welcome to this video. I'm going to show you a very quick introduction to MySQL Workbench, and more specifically how to download, install, and use it on Mac OS environment. Of course, it's going to be a brief introduction because a detailed usage scenarios and how to use the various menus and all the features is a topic of a subsequent video. Okay, so let's visit the mysql.com, check the downloads page, then we move to the MySQL community downloads, click on that, and to the left of the page, we can see that we have the MySQL Workbench. We click on that, and here we need to select the macOS environment because we are showing here, we're demonstrating the macOS environment. So we select the macOS operating system. The version, as we have already explained, we have to check what is the kind of the microprocessor that we have. In my case, it is ARM, so I click on that. And as you can see, I have an option here to download the DMG archive. Now, a small detail that I would like to focus here is that probably this this version, because you can see that the version is 8036 for the Workbench, might not be compatible with the MySQL server that I have already downloaded or the macOS version that I have installed. So in any case, that's not a problem. If I find some problem, I check in the Archives tab a previous version that might be compatible. So let's proceed with the one that we have selected and see whether it works well or not. So let's download the DMG. Sorry for that. We said that we have the ARM. Just download. There's no need to sign in or so. It's pretty fast. So let's wait for a couple of seconds to download. Okay, so right now, let's double click on that and see how it works. So as you can see, it's downloaded. Okay, so what we have to do is to drag this to the applications and see whether it works fine or not. Well, looks like that the process is complete. Let's open the Finder. And here in the applications, if everything is fine, we will see the MySQL Workbench. However, I can see that there is something here. Yes, and this is the problem that I mentioned before, that we cannot use this version with macOS that we have here in my computer because it has not been tested, it's not compatible for any reason. And this version of MySQL Workbench requires a later version of macOS. Well, that's not a problem. Well, let's just remove that. Okay, and repeat the process, as I said before, with a version of MySQL Workbench that is probably compatible. So how can we find that? One way is to try, let's say, 2-3 previous versions, or the other approach is to check the documentation to figure out which version is compatible with my operating system. So let's get, let's say, 4 versions back, 8030, to see whether it's fine. I repeat the process. This is something very common when we work with software, where we try to figure out what combination is working for our environment, or probably the languages or the versions that we use. That's very simple. It's very simple to figure out what works if we read the documentation. Okay, download is over. Let's open that. Let's repeat the process. Drag this icon to the applications and see whether it is okay. Well, it's not over yet. Well, in this case, I don't see any sign here, so everything looks fine. So double click that to launch the application. Yes, I'm pretty sure that it is safe, okay, because it's the official application of MySQL, so I trust it. Okay, so what is that? It's an environment that it is suggested to use during the program. Okay, it's not the only environment that you can use, but it is the one that we will refer many times. Okay, so when you become more experienced in SQL, then you can download and use any kind of tool, any kind of integrated development environment, IDE, as we say, with visual tools and all the utilities. And I'm pretty sure that you will find the tool that fits to your, let's say, skills better. Okay, however, this environment is really very powerful because at the same time we can execute SQL commands but also administer the database in a visual way. So what do we have here? This is the landing page of MySQL Workbench. So the first thing that we can do is to connect to our server. So as you can see, we have here in this place a local instance which refers to the server that we have installed in our system. So let's figure out whether the server is up and running. How can we check that? By opening the MySQL here from the system. So as you can see, we have always to ensure that the server is up and running, because if it is not running, if I stop the server, then I won't be able to connect. All right, so when the server is down, I'm not able to connect using the editor, the MySQL Workbench. So let's start it again. And let's try to connect. So double click that. Now, this is a point where you have to remember the password that you had set for your root user. It's important to keep somewhere the password. If for any case you have forgotten that, just repeat the entire installation process. You can retrieve that, but it's not very easy for, people who are, in their first steps. So you can just delete everything. You can uninstall everything and repeat the installation process. So let's press the OK. There's a warning here that probably there might be some risk in the connection, but I'm pretty sure that as soon as I connect to my computer, there's no problem, no security issue. And as you can see, I have an environment here that shows that I have connected to the database server. So just a brief overview of what we can see here. It is an environment where we have the ability to execute SQL commands here in this central panel. We can see the databases here to the left side, the schemas. If I click on the schemas tab, I can see existing databases. So this is the system database. I have the tables. So you can see the tables, the columns of that table, and we can also view the data. Okay, in the next sessions, we will walk through all those details. So as you can see, I have a panel here where I can execute SQL scripts, SQL statements. In the middle, I have a panel that shows the outcome of the execution. And at the bottom, I have a panel that shows warning messages or the output of every action. Those panels could be resized I can fix them to the size that I'm happy. Okay, so I can see a lot of details for my schema, for my database. Execute commands is something that you will need quite a lot of times to execute SQL statements. I can create databases. I can design the schemas. And let me show you here in the administration that we also have uh, all those options to control or to manage the server. So if we click on the server status, we see here some statistics for the server that is up and running. We can check that it is up and running. We can, if we are interested in the administration, but this program does not focus on administration, on database administration. So, as you proceed in development, SQL scripting and so on, at some point of time, you will wonder how you can optimize your scripts. So at that point, you might be interested on some systemic, let's say, aspects of MySQL, but for the moment, it's not really necessary. So we can export data, we can import, for example, if we have large data files, we can import without, writing everything on a manual way. So if you have achieved to connect to your server like that, then the installation of MySQL Workbench is over, and the scope of this video is, I think it's pretty fine. So if you have achieved that, then you know how to open that, how to deal with MySQL Workbench. Thank you for watching this video, and in the next videos, I will show you quite a lot of features of MySQL Workbench and SQL itself. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the subsequent videos.